Alright, so I will be giving another assignment by today or by tomorrow morning. In the first assignment, we have asked you to create the application and submit to the LMS uh, as a PDF, and that PDF should include the repository link, repository link of the application. So this is the instruction. These are the instructions I have given, and I have asked you to upload the source code to the GitHub. Include a README file with the instructions on how to use the app and any other additional information. And I have asked you to provide the URL of the GitHub repo, ensuring it's accessible, and submit it as a PDF to the LMS. So if you if I check the submissions, it's like some of them have not included that specific link with the expected features. So hope it is now okay. Now I think this is fine. I think last time it did not have anything. So in here, uh, I think this is now okay. Earlier it was not having the app files and the other required files. I think I will be able to run this one now. So the README file also needs to have some sufficient information regarding the app. In here, still there's a Google Drive link. So I think, for the second submission, I'm having a Google Drive link, which disables me to have a look at the assignment in a proper manner that I do for the others. What I mean by is that, like, if I have a Google Drive link and then I have to go and download it and then upload it to GitHub, and then even that doesn't even work. That link doesn't even work when I uh, copy and paste it in the browser. So if that is the case, it's difficult for me to mark such kind of assignments. So if I'm having this link, I should be able to go to that specific location at least. So I think, don't know whether it works. It doesn't work really. So such kind of assignments, I will not be able to mark and give marks. So there was another one with the Google Drive link. This one. This fold is empty. So that is the assignment by this third person. So I don't know why they're uploading the Google Drive links. I have asked them to upload the GitHub link. So I think those kind of submissions will directly not get any marks. So don't question sometimes about that later. And so I have asked you to upload in a certain manner. And in here, of course, you don't have the README file. So I have asked you to put the README file that explains something about the application, so that any person who is seeing this link can understand what you have uploaded in here. I know that it is tip calculator, but it could be not the case for someone else. So you need to have some kind of description, but even this description is not that ideal. I think you need to maybe you can insert some images of the user interface, and also you can explain what are the tools you use to develop this app, and also the functions of the app in detail. So you can you have already added, but maybe you can make it more readable. So I think some improvements might need to happen. Do you have any questions? Doesn't go to that link. I don't know why it doesn't work. So really, it's hard for me to mark your assignments if I cannot access the file, and that is also something you need to consider. So you need to like give me something that works. So okay, this one still doesn't have the whatever the files that are required for the application. So this app will not work. Okay, so this one actually is better. So I think this one, I think works, will work, and it has some information regarding the app in a kind of a organized manner. I think it has some better appearance and also explanation about the app. You can include more information regarding the tip percentages that you're adding and the features, the special features that you have in your app apart from the basic features or basic performances. Okay, so this one has much better appearance and information. So I think this is good. Okay, so it also has the README file and the other app files, which is good. So for this submission, I cannot find the submission. So this 491 submission, maybe you need to check it again, whether your submission is there actually or not. Yeah, this one is also fine, but I need better README description in here. So I believe if the deadline has already expired, then I think you can do the improvements in the next submissions of the assignments. So yeah, I think this is much better. This is having a lot of information regarding the app. Like if you don't have any information, do not include it like this in here. So I don't know, like you should maybe, I don't know, you have to give some correct information, some part. So in this description, do not add some information for the user to add the app's website or the page where the APK is hosted. I think it's okay. I think this comes. Okay, yeah, this is much better. I think it has all the app files and the description in a proper manner, I feel. So I think it's good. This one also has the necessary files. It's also fine. So the README file in here should be added 523. So the README file can be improved with more data regarding the application. So for this and this I think I have, no, okay. This is also kind of fine. I think the README can be improved. Okay, so with that, I think most of the assignments were checked. So, so if there were any kind of improvements to be made, you can maybe make them in the next assignment. So this one is only having the README file. So the one by 519. So I don't know whether there's another. Yeah, so other branch is actually having the files. Sometimes I need to go to the other branch to find the files. So make the one of these branches a default branch, so that when I go to this link, I go directly to the branch with all these files. If I didn't check the other branch, I wouldn't know that the app is there, the other one. So better to include all these application files into one branch and make it the default one. So you can in GitHub you can make branches, default branches, using the settings option in the GitHub. So when you are taking any your any of your applications, you can find a settings option on top, and there you can go and check about the branches and set the default branch to the master branch, for example, because in here all the files are in the master branch. So I have uploaded the intents uh, like activity I have done in the last class in this link in the GitHub, and I have uploaded this link into the LMS. So what I was talking about was going to the settings and making the default branch into the master branch. You can define the default branch as master branch and set it like that, so that once you go to the repository will basically show the master branches files uh, in its interface. So there won't be any two branches, so that the confusion between two branches is reduced. So you can have, like um, all the files in one branch in the repository. So I think it will be easy to observe the files if they are all in one branch. If you are doing some updates to the app, of course, you will be using several branches. However, like default branch, you can set it to this specific branch to which you are uploading from your Android Studio. I hope it is okay with you regarding the GitHub submission. So I think you can look at the GitHub, submission tutorials that we have discussed to follow that method of uploading the projects into the GitHub. So in the last class, I think we have developed the intents for the recycler views in Android Studio. So we have followed these steps that was given in the Word document. So those steps can be followed to obtain that view. So intents is something that creates a new screen um, and incorporate the data in one screen to the other screen. So the intent is an object that is used in the Android Studio that can be used to store all the data in the current screen or in the current adapter and put those data into the new screen. So in the last class, we discussed these sections, and I hope there's no problem with these sections. Any questions from this section that we have covered in the last class? So this tutorial was about the intents that can be used to create another screen in the app itself. So those kind of intents we call as explicit intents. There are other types of intents also that are, possible to be implemented. So other kind of intents include implicit intents, implicit instance, which can be used to generate a new web browser, or to generate to access a new interface such as web browser or a camera application or any other application in the phone. which are different to the interface that you are using for the app. So implicit text intent is another type of intent, and in there also you will be defining the intents in this similar fashion. That means like using this same syntax. So this syntax can be used to generate an implicit intent also. In there, the difference is that um, the URL of the intent must be defined to define the intent. So implicit intents can be defined in the certain syntax. So implicit intents uh, will be uh, can be used to access another URL or another website. So the procedure of creating such kind of intents are given in web pages like this, and there's a certain syntax that you can use. In there, actually, when you're defining the intent, you will be defining the intent like this. So in here, the implicit intent or the intent that we call as implicit, that is used to access a new interface or a different interface, can be defined in this manner, where you are defining the URL to which you want to access. So the URL will be defined first, where the in here the URL that is specified by the user will be taken as input, and the URL will be passed on to the intent. So based on the URL, the intent will initialize the new screen. So the start activity function is used to initialize the new screen. Start activity means starting the new activity. Activity word means a new screen in the Android Studio and in the app developer. So in the activity, you will be showing the new interface. So starting activity is the function that is used to initiate the intent. So this is the function used basically to initiate the intent. So we discussed already about the explicit intents. Explicit intents are used to access another screen on the same application. So the syntax used is something similar to this, right? Where you define the class file that you will be accessing once the intent is initialized. So once the intent is initialized, a new class file is accessed. So the class file is the main activity2 file. The main activity2 file will include all the data that should be shown in the new screen. So the new screen and its its behaviors and its data will be included in this main activity2 file. So that is the way of starting the new screen for an intent, right? Using an intent, starting a new screen is done like that. So we can do such kind of intent implementation. So the method of implementing will differ slightly based on whether it's a explicit intent or a implicit intent. So the way of defining the intent was explained in the last class. After that, we um, added data to the data class, added new data to the data class, such as the biometric of the contact person and the image of the contact person. Right, so we were making a contact list, and each of the contact person will have a bio information about that person, and that person will have a certain image. So if there's an image, that image will be shown. So those data will be also available in this data class file. After that, those data will be saved as several variables under contact list. and under that contact list, we'll be able to access each, each name and age and, the details of each contact person. Right, so those kind of details will be stored in these variables, and we will be using the put extra command to uh, include the data into these new variables that we define as strings. So we will be, saving the data that we have in one screen into a new variable, which is defined as a string, and that will be done using the put extra command. After that, these data will be forwarded to the new file or the new screen using this intent object. So intent object will pass the data forward to the new screen, and the new screen will be named as details activity class file. So that class file will get the information that we send here using put extra commands. Right, so whatever the data we send here will be received by the new class file, which is details activity. After that, the details activity file will obtain that data that was forwarded from the other screen or the adapter file, and then it will use those data to get the new screen set up. The new screen will be created using those data that was forwarded. So the new data will be saved in variable names, variables such as contact name, contact age, contact bio, profile photo, and so on. And those variables will be then used to assign the values to the different text views and image views that we have in the layout file. In the layout file, we have text views, image views, and such kind of elements, UI elements. So those elements need to be updated with this new data that was received. So that is done by accessing those text views and getting those text views attributes to change to the variable values. So what we first do is we access the text views, image views using the layout file. We access those views, right? We use the layout view and we access those views, and then we store those views as new variables. The attributes of those variables can be accessed by writing the text view, for example, and using dot text. Then we can access the text attribute of that certain element. After that, we can put that element's text name as a certain data. So the data can be obtained from these variables that we define using that we defined at the beginning of this file, which is the new file that we use to create the new screen. So the details activity file. So the details activity file will have these variables. That variable value will be stored as the text attribute of this text view. Similarly, we do this for all the text views, and then when we want to update the image of a person into an image view, we use this command to set the image of an image view, and the image will be inserted as a variable, and that variable will be defined using this command. And then the variable value in here that will be stored in here will be a certain ID or something, that is something that we are going to insert in here. So the image ID is something that we are going to insert in here to replicate the image details. After that, if we want to debug the code, we can use the log commands to debug the code and check whether each and every section of the code or the project is running properly. So the log.i command refers to the information about the code. And there are other types of log commands that are available in the application, which relates to the log.e, which means the error messages. And then also the app can show us log commands related to warning messages will also be shown, and debug messages will also be shown. Likewise, those kind of four types of log commands will be shown in the app logcat interface. So that will be the basis for debugging the code at any time of your application implementation. If you want to know if something's working or not, you need to make sure that you add the log commands and find out at which location the app is not working. So after that, one thing I added at the end of the last session is that we need to add this activity details in the manifest file. We have a manifest file which is Android manifest.xml. That XML file has all the details regarding the new activities or the current activities in the app. So if we are adding a new activity to the app, we need to define that in the Android manifest.xml file. That is exactly what is done in here. So if you don't add this, sometimes the app will not understand that there's a new activity in the application. So for the app to understand how many activities are there, we need to add this new activity in this manner into this Android manifest.xml file. So once we add that, only the app will know that it functions and operates over multiple screens, so that multiple screen options can be enabled. So with that, I think intents was something we discussed in the last class. Do you have any questions up to this point? So another thing we need to understand in the intents is that the implicit intents or the intents that we are used to obtain another interface can be defined without even specifying the specific URL of the new website. So when we are using implicit intents or the intent type that we use to access a new interface can be enabled, or we can actually define such kind of intent, implicit intent type, even without defining the specific URL or specific browser actually. I mean, if you are going to access a certain URL, we might not need to define the specific browser that we might want to use for the accessing of the URL. But even without such kind of definitions, the app will access the internet. So we don't need to explicitly define the browser details in the implicit intent type. So you can just, I think, like include the URL. The URL will be accessed through any kind of a browser that the app is, having as default. So this is the kind of the steps that we can use to create an intent in a recycler view. So I will give an assignment related to this intents and recycler views as a second assignment. Also, I want you to add new features to this application. So such features I will mention in the assignment. When I'm giving you the assignment, I will mention you some extensions that you need to do in the application. So there's something that we have discussed in the class. So apart from doing that same thing, you also need to do some additional work to get higher marks for the assignment. So you need to add some extensions to the app performance. So if you add them, you can mention that in the submission in the GitHub repository and in the readme of the GitHub repository link. Then you can say like what are the special features that you have added into the application, and then what are the functionalities of such kind of features. So with that, I think we have discussed about the intents. Any questions up to this point? Okay, so I said that we will be moving towards the next section about integrating the app with the remote cloud databases. Uh, in this section, so we will be learning about how we can integrate the app with the databases that are available in the cloud servers, such as Firebase. In this case, we will be learning about how we can integrate Firebase into the app, and how we can update the data in the Firebase. For example, using the data that we have, that the data that we have in our own app, and see the updates in the Firebase. So apart from that, we can we can uh, also, I mean, understand how uh, like Firebase will be able to handle all the data management tasks, while we only need to give the commands using our application. So in apps, every app needs to have data from somewhere and use it for a specific purpose. So the data should come from either in local databases or local databases, or the data can come from an external web API or a web interface, or else it could come from our own backend service that we can uh, define for the application. So when we are using all these options, we have some benefits. However, like in cases where we build our own backend service, sometimes it actually requires us to build everything from scratch. Whereas remote cloud databases that are already available for the customers combines the benefits of local storage, and also uh, accessing databases in the web applications. So if we have a remote cloud database, the remote cloud database will be able to incorporate many features into the app and provide data to the app from different locations. So it can provide data from the local storage, and also it can provide data from websites and web applications. So the remote cloud database is able to combine many of technologies and bring data from different places to the application as the user is requesting to have. So building your own backend service your own backend server for your application requires you to have certain uh, you know uh, development, or it requires you to develop a database using uh, then these tools, such as uh, you have to use some tools, and then you have to build your own database, and you need to uh, store the data, and you need to manage the data. The structuring of the data also needs to be done, and the management of the database has to have to be done by yourself. So such kind of things can be useful for like a person who's like conducting their own company, for example a startup company or a certain business venture who needs some specific services. However, if you are using this application for some general work or standard services, then you can use something like Firebase, which is a backend as a service platform, where you are given uh, all the features from the third party itself. So you don't have to build these backend servers on your own. So when we are building a backend service on your own, there are a lot of difficulties that you have to come up with, where you have to be expert in database management and database scaling, and also security of the database, and so on. So you have to consider all these aspects when you are doing the database management on your own. So these kind of complex tasks are there, and it makes the these kind of applications um, to be used only if there's some kind of expert who can build this and manage this application. However, when we have this backend as a service, the backend as a service uh, can provide many services to you. So they will be able to provide you database or service hosting, management of the data, deployment of the data, and so on. All those backend services will be handled by the backend as a service platform, and the user only needs to worry about um, managing the application. So the application, its features, that those things are the only thing that the customer has to worry about when they're developing a certain application. And if they want to, if they integrate with the Firebase, they can get many, advantages with related to managing the data and hosting the database in the web in the server. So this Firebase, for example, which is a backend as a service platform, is having many different features, and enables you to have many advantages from it, and it gives you the ability to create authentication methods for users, so that only certain users can get authentication and access the app. And it also provides you storage facilities for large files. So cloud servers, it has a large space, so enough to store loads of data, so large amounts of data. And therefore, because of this reason, you can store a lot of data in the cloud servers. Apart from that, it is enabling us to um, integrate the web, integrate applications with the web servers. So all those advantages are there when we are using backend as a service. Also, this backend as a service platform, which is basically the Firebase platform. Firebase platform works with NoSQL databases, so does not use SQL to access the data. So therefore, there's no strict standard method of managing and accessing the data, and therefore it is actually providing some simplicity and flexibility to the servers and customers when they're accessing the data. However, like when you're trying to find some data in those databases, some queries will be more expensive, and it will be difficult to obtain the data through the databases easily. So the obtaining data will be difficult when we are having NoSQL databases. So Firebase is the backend as a service platform that we are going to focus on, and it is a very popular backend as a service platform that is owned by Google. It has become popular uh, with the it has become popular with many users, mainly because it provides many services when you are developing the app, and it provides you many services to integrate with your app. Also, if the number of users who are using the Firebase increases, you might have to pay for the service. However, if the number of customers are small, you can provide the service free of charge. So the Google has many documentation related to building the app. So the instructions are given in the Google Firebase document. Documents that are available in the websites. So different features and services that are available with Firebase can be implemented in your application in the Android. And the steps of doing that are given in those websites step by step. So, the first thing that we have to do is that we have to integrate the Firebase into the Android Studio. For that, we can follow a certain set of steps. So if we already have an Android Studio project already available, then we can use those details to integrate our app with the Firebase project. Any questions up to now? We can go to Firebase and we can create a new project. So we want to integrate. So this is the process that we will be using to integrate the Firebase into our Android projects. So we can start in here and we can start a new project. We can give a certain name for our project. So I think I will give Firebase version 1. So you can give some name that is customized for your application. So I will go ahead like this. So I have created an app account in Firebase. So you can use in here or else you can create a new account. So after doing that, you can create the project. So this might take some time. In the meantime, I need to have an Android Studio project that I will be using. So I will be using this project. In here, I will be having the information regarding the project in these Gradle files. In these Gradle files, I will be having the plugin files that I'm having that gives us basically the libraries required for the app to run. And this Gradle files will also have the application ID of the app. So this information is required for me to create the Firebase integration. So I will copy paste this application ID and I will create. So I think I have created this new project. So this new project is known as Firebase version 1. So I think I will go in here and I need to give the application ID. So the application ID that I just copy pasted, I'm going to put in here. So should be something that does not have the quotation marks. It will be like this. And you can give a optional name for the app if you want. And then in here, it is asking about the signing certificates, which means that if we want to enable Google sign-in option into our application, we have to enable this, certificate ID for our application. So in order for us to obtain that, we have to follow the instructions in this page. So authentication can be done. Authentication can be enabled for Google sign-in method using these instructions. Right. So once we have enabled this, a user who is clicking on this sign in option can sign in using their Google accounts. So we have to first take these commands. We have to run them in the command prompt. And if we face some errors, we need to resolve those errors. We need to run the command in here. So sometimes the command might not run properly. We'll have some error in there. If there's an error, you need to check whether there's the installation of Java the uh, in the app or in the computer properly. So you need to check whether the Java has been installed properly in your application. If not, you will get an error while when you're running this code. If you get an error, that means that you haven't installed Java properly in your PC. So in order to install that, you will have to install Java in your app, in your computer. So you can do that. Then after that, you can run this instruction. So when you're downloading the Java files, you can download Java using Oracle, web page. So you can download the Java version, the latest version of the Java using this website. And here you can choose the Windows option. If you are using Windows, you can download the certain application or setup file using this link. After you have downloaded, you can find the location where the Java installation is available. So in here, if you are considering the location, most of the time it will be available under program files and under the Java folder. In there, actually, we have this JDK file. Then it will have a bin file. So that bin file holds the files that are required to run the Java language and get its performances. So in order for us to enable this Java, and we have to enable this functions related to Java language in the computer. You need to establish the Java language or installation of Java in the environment of the under the environmental variables. So under the environmental variables, you need to specify the path of where you have installed Java. So once you have specified this path, this computer will automatically take the installation of the Java in the computer, and then so once that is there, then you can run this command. After that, you will be asked the password. So password will be Android. Once you give the correct password, you will be given these numbers, which are SHA1 and SHA256. These numbers are representing the certificate numbers that enables this app to allow the Google sign in. So we need to copy paste this and paste in that location that we have for the certificate. So correctly, I think they need to be copy pasted correctly. So if it is okay, then you can register. Once you register, you will be then able to obtain a JSON file that has all the details regarding the integration of Firebase into the Android application. You can download this and then you can upload this JSON file into the project file of your Android app. So this is the Android app which I'm working in. I can transfer the JSON file into this, the JSON file that I saved. I can put it into the app of this directory. So I need to put it in here, or else I can copy and paste in here. So under the app, I will be moving it. Then I will be putting it there. So I have already put it there before as well. That is why they asked me to rewrite the file. Anyway, like you have already put the JSON file into this app. Then after that, you can enable the libraries that are required to integrate Firebase and this app. So the required libraries have to be stored in here, and that part we will discuss. Any questions up to this point? So the required instructions for the authentic for this library inclusion can be found in the website. So you can search for the web, like how to authenticate. The necessary instructions that should be followed are given in here. So these steps can be followed. So the necessary libraries that need to be installed are given in here. So they have to be saved in the correct folders and files. I think there's another file which can use. We can follow those instructions in here. So, I mean, you can search in the internet also for many for the related resources, and you can follow, I mean, the resources that are available there, and you can actually go through different websites and find the information required. So, in this in this place, what is available is that how we can authenticate Google on Android. So that is also another part that we'll be discussing about, where you are authenticating Google accounts to access your app. So in order to enable that to happen, you have to have this libraries installed in your Gradle files. So in the Gradle files, we need to install these libraries. So these libraries need to be installed in the this Gradle file, which is defined for the module where these implementation files are available. So I will be, saving those files in here that was there in that website. I'll be copy pasting those libraries and saving them in here. And then I can click sync now, and then I can sync this information with all the rest of the files. Then that we also have to update the plugin files in here. We need to include this google.gms.google services plugin file under the plugin options. There's another Gradle file which is project based. Even in there, we have to add this google.gms Google services library where this will be used to generate the necessary functions in the application. So once all those things are done, then we can save this. We can save all the files and all the codes. So after that, we also have to enable Google authentication. I think we have done. So this is the place where all that instructions are also given as well. So in here also, the instructions are given that I just mentioned about the libraries that we can install. The libraries that we have to install are, uh, are the ones that are related to these plugins, and these have to be saved in separate Gradle files. So in the first file, which is project level Gradle file, you have to save this one, this plugin file, which we have, yes, in here, the first file, the first project-based Gradle file should have those libraries installed in them. So those libraries means like this one, we need to import into this Gradle file. Google.gms Google services, we have to import to this Gradle file. And then there's another Gradle file, which is app-based, module app-based. So that one should have these plugins. So the plugins that should be included in there are basically an Android.application plugin file and the Google services plugin file. So those two must be added in there. After that, these dependencies also must be updated. The dependencies will have basically these dependencies: implementation platform, Firebase library. So this one should also be included in here. So the versions of the libraries are given by these integer values, and the most recent one or the most functioning one is most of the time applied there. So apart from that, you can add these other libraries that are required based on the application. So we have to put all the necessary libraries in here. Once it is done, we can sync the file with the rest of the files in the app. After that, we can go to the final step where you have finished the adding Firebase into the Android app. So we can go to the console. So it will show, the Firebase console will show the app that we are having. So the app we are having, I think the app we constructed was this app called Firebase version 1. So I think it's still uploading. So I think it's here. So if we want to also, uh, we have to update the authentication information in this Firebase console as well. So we have to go to the authentication option. We have to provide our email address that we will be using to access this, Google based sign in option. So we can enable the Google based sign in option. In there, we can select enable in here. Then we can give an email address that we want to work with for the project. Then we can save that email address. Once we do that, we'll be given a certain JSON file again, which is an updated version of the JSON file. So I think when I created this, there was another file which has the same authentication client ID available. So because of that, the JSON file cannot be updated. They are saying. So because of that, I will not be able to download in here. However, if I want a specific uh, JSON file for this application, I need to either delete the previous application that I have created and rerun this procedure, and I need to obtain the updated JSON file for this new application that I have built. I think this is the one that I have already built, not the newest one. So already I think I have some JSON file which is related to the previous application that I have built using this Firebase. So anyway, once you have once you know like the project that you want to work in, you can delete the other files that are having the same authentication IDs, and you can have only one file or one project with that certain specific authentication ID. So if there are other files which are having the same authentication ID, then the Firebase will not be able to create a new Firebase ID for you. So because of that, it happens. So the projects that I'm having are like this. So I'm having some other projects also, and these projects have also been authenticated, and the authentication is already existing for this uh, project, for example. So if I go to this project, if I go to the settings of that project, I can see its JSON file in here, and its Google sign-in options I can see in here. So if I want, I can use this project uh, to update my app, I believe. So earlier I created another app with another name. So I if I want to start over, I can maybe use only one project and I create the JSON file for that. So you will be able to get an updated JSON file like this. You need to download it, and then you need to upload it again back to the app directory of the Android Studio, where you will be able to upload the JSON file. So the uploading of the JSON file has to be done again to this directory. So the updated JSON file needs to be uploaded back to this app folder. So after that, the system will be updated with the Google authentication details, and we will be able to see some, changes in the libraries and in the uh, resource files in the app. So once those steps are properly done, we'll be able to see new strings appearing in here, defining the different keywords that are used in the Firebase, API, for example. So if you are working with Firebase, we can directly get the functions by just directly calling them because those libraries are already installed in this app by now. So any questions up to this point? So in the next steps, we will be enabling the Google sign-in option using the layout files and the Kotlin files. So we'll be updating the layout of the application such that it includes a Google sign-in option. The Google sign-in option can be enabled by adding a button in the interface and adding Google sign-in, the vector of the image on top of the button. So we can integrate Google sign-in option into this layout file. Once you click on the Google sign-in option, you must be able to sign into your account. So that feature needs to be integrated in here. So once we want to do that, we can search for it in the Google as well. So Google sign in Android. So the steps that are given in this web page can be used to add the sign into our applications. You can also refer in your free time. So a sample application is already available in the GitHub. You can download it and run it, find out what are the codes used to implement that feature, and also the changes you will be doing in the layout files. So there are many, websites that are, providing information regarding that same topic. In here, again, you will be able to see how we can implement that. So in here, we should be able to obtain the layout file for the Google signing. So for that, we can use the layout file commands directly from the internet. So using that, we can put the command for the Google sign in button that we can enable. Okay, so can you mark your attendance, please? Okay, so I will be giving you a small quiz. So I think you can join that. There will only be 5 questions. So please join if you can. Okay, so I think you can use log messages for debugging. Okay, so there are basically two types of intents, explicit and implicit intents. So in here we can say that uh, so there are two options that are correct. Option A and option B. Actually, they haven't given which options are A and B in here. So I think the question is wrong. Explicit intents and implicit intents are two types of intents. And the start is not an intent. So this is wrong. So if you have chosen seven, this option A and B are correct, that means there are two options that are correct. So that is the correct answer. But in here, actually, I think A and B I have to define explicit correctly. So in there, I think sometimes this question cannot be taken into consideration. Maybe I will remove it out of the total marks. So look, you have got the correct answer. So you can go to URLs without specifying the specific browser to use in the implicit intents. Okay, so the correct answer is you can use the start activity method to launch the new activity. So start activity is the method used for that. So it should be the correct answer. So yeah, so the correct answer is true. In here, actually, when you're defining the intent, when you're defining an intent, basically, you can, I think, yeah, you can give the class, but I think even this one, I think I'm wrong in here. It should be false, I think. Any intent cannot be defined like this. The explicit intent can be defined in this manner. explicit word must be there in here. This question. In this question, it should be mentioned that it should be explicit intent. And only then I think we can take this as the correct answer. Otherwise, it's false actually. So if I consider that, then I think the people who got the wrong answer in here is the correct uh, people. So I think they should get the marks for that. So I think for this question also, I will remove the marks uh, for both sides. So I think only for 3 questions I will be able to give marks for this quiz. Anyway, like I hope it gave you some information regarding the intents and how they can be defined. So I hope I will update the results and I will put them in the LMS accordingly, considering the correctness of the questions and the answers. Any questions regarding that? If you don't mind, I hope to wind up the session by now today and complete the Google authentication part in the next session, and also maybe showcase how Firebase integrated apps can be developed, and like show how we can update the data in the Firebase platform. So with that, I would like to wind up today's session. Any questions, if you have, you can let me know. So thank you for participating today.